Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucia and this is Lulu's Leaves.
Flying high like the birds and the bees and the fill the sky with the songs and the trees.
Today I wanted to talk to you guys all about how to grow larger leaves on your houseplants. Honestly, in the beginning of my houseplant journey, I definitely would bring home plants and they would automatically start putting out smaller leaves than they had when I first purchased them. That doesn't automatically mean that you're not doing the right things. Sometimes plants just do need some time to acclimate and then they'll start pushing out larger leaves. But I just wanted to give you guys some tips so you can know the best ways to get your plants to get those large leaves as soon as possible. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away, but this is definitely the best way to set yourself up for success. Before I get into this video though, guys, if you're not already subscribed, please hit that button down below. It helps me out so much. I am hopeful that we can make it to 10,000 subscribers in the next few months, and I would love that so much. It would mean the world to me. And if you enjoyed today's video, you can also give it a thumbs up down below. If you don't enjoy it, hit the thumbs down button. It all helps me out anyways. I did want to talk about two things before we start going over the tips though. I wanted to show you guys my merch. The shirt that I'm wearing right now is not available for you guys to purchase. I am working on that closely with a company that is very well respected in the plant community. So I do want to wait to announce that for you guys until I have all of the details sorted out, but that is definitely in the works because I know a lot of you guys saw my sweater on Instagram yesterday and wanted one for yourself. So they are coming. You will be able to buy some Lulu's Leaves merch coming soon, but definitely no pressure. It's just if you want something to wear while you're plant shopping or something to wear around the house to show your support for my channel. I also wanted to show you guys some terrariums that I was sent recently from NEWITTY. That is the brand name. They sent me two different types of terrariums. I'll have them on the screen here. They sent me a really cute house-shaped terrarium that houses my two jewel orchids and some of my carnivorous plant pullings. They're growing into really cute plants now. Those plants were suffering before they went into this terrarium, and now they are thriving. They are unfurling their new leaves, which is so exciting because they were so dormant for so long. But the humidity in these terrariums stays so high, so it really is a great environment for them to flourish and grow larger leaves. The other terrarium they sent me was a sort of cube shape, and in that terrarium I am currently housing some of my Hoya propagations. They are doing so well. If you look at the back of the terrarium, you can actually see the new roots growing, which is super exciting. So I'm definitely going to have to pull them out of the terrarium soon to check that out. And you can also see on the front of the terrarium, it's keeping in that moisture so well. You can see the condensation. And I just like to basically open up these terrariums every once in a while to get some good airflow going in the actual terrariums. If you want to purchase one of the NEWITTY terrariums, you can use my code Lucia, all caps, for 20% off your purchase, which is so awesome. I don't make anything off of your purchase. It's just a great way for you to save some money. So definitely go check those out. But with all of that being said, let's get straight on into today's video. So as I was saying before, a lot of the times when I used to bring home my houseplants, they would start by putting out really tiny leaves. I would bring them home and I wouldn't be giving them the perfect conditions to grow those large leaves. So by default, they grew tiny, scrawny baby leaves. But since I've expanded my knowledge in houseplants, I've been able to see what works for me when bringing my houseplants home. And I've devised a few tips for you guys so that you can grow large leaves as well. I know I've shown my Anthurium forgetii on my channel before, and you guys will see when I show you this plant now that it has seriously put on some crazy size since putting out this new leaf. And there is reason for that. It's not just a fluke. I'll get to that. So this here is my newest Anthurium forgetii leaf. This one here is the size of the last few leaves. So what did I do, you ask? I mean, did I chemically induce this plant? No. There are a few different factors that cause these larger leaves. I mean, sometimes it is just natural. If your plant is ready to grow large leaves, it's going to. But one of the biggest things that a plant needs to grow these large leaves is a healthy root system. So when I bring my plants home for the first time, I always like to repot the plant, no matter what season it is, no matter where I get the plant. I always want to check the roots, because if there's any sort of root rot, you can easily cut that off and begin the whole process of growing new healthy roots. A lot of people will disagree with me because you're interrupting the root system, you're interrupting the plant, so you think that that's going to stunt the growth. I have never had that happen where repotting the plant has created a smaller leaf for the plant. Another thing that I find that's really, really important is choosing the right pot size for your plant. If you get it and it's very root bound, and you see that the leaves keep getting smaller and smaller, this goes for any sort of plant. You definitely want to upsize the pot. I would not go any more than 2 inches when you do upgrade the pot, because that will definitely shock the plant. I moved this guy from a 3-inch pot to, I think this is a 4.5-inch pot, and it is so much happier. The roots were a little bit constricted in the 3-inch pot, so I gave it a little bit more room to breathe and to grow some bigger, juicier roots, and this was the result. There's one other thing that I do with Anthuriums though. When I see them pushing out a new leaf, I like to use a very soft or gentle grow light and direct that light straight onto the plant. I actually put my grow lights about 6 inches from that new leaf. They definitely aren't crazy strong lights though, so be careful, do not burn your leaves. You want to test your grow lights out and see how close you can get that light. But I like to have my lights that are on their little arms really close to these guys, because I do find that that helps encourage really good growth on the plant. So as soon as I see a leaf that is unfurling on these guys specifically, because they start off so small and they have the chance to grow so big, I like to encourage as much growth as possible using that grow light. So keep that light about 6 inches away if you can get away with that. But again, be careful that you don't burn your leaves if your light is too strong. Here is a size comparison of the newest forgetii leaf compared to my hand. And here's a size comparison of the older leaf. I did cut some of the other leaves off, but they were all about this size. So it works, I promise you. Another super important factor when trying to grow larger leaves on your houseplant is giving them an awesome moss pole to grow up. This is the Trofolia straight up moss pole. I talked about it in my last video. It's such a great moss pole, but with climbing plants, it is crucial that you use moss poles because they really like to dig their roots into the poles. And you want to make sure that you're keeping the poles moist so that they're a little bit more encouraged to actually stick themselves into the pole. This plant here came with this original leaf, and this was a middle cutting, so it did have to push out new leaves from its auxiliary bud, and it did so, and it put out this beautiful leaf. And then because I had it attached to this pole, it grew these awesome aerial roots and dug itself actually into the pole. What I like to do is I like to use this green tape to kind of suggest that this node connects to this moss pole, because if you don't actually secure it, it might be sticking out way to the side and it's not going to grow an aerial root an inch away from the pole into the pole. It has to kind of be shown where to grow. So that is why I have these pieces of tape here. Since these plants like to attach to trees in the wild, if they feel themselves attaching to a moss pole, they actually feel more sturdy and more supported, so they're able to grow those larger leaves. That is why we use moss poles. It's not just to keep them straight up and stop them from falling down. It's actually to promote larger leaves once they've been able to stick their aerial roots into the moss poles. So as you can see, that is why this leaf here turned into this leaf here in only a few weeks. So definitely make sure that you have a moss pole. So the last thing that I wanted to show you guys was just some of the other plants that I have successfully grown large leaves on using these methods. So this guy is my Burl Marx Fantasy, and when it came to me, it was just being propagated in some sphagnum moss. It was not on a pole. So the leaves continued to get a little bit smaller and smaller, and that's okay. But even just by putting this guy on a moss pole and giving it some adequate humidity, I've been able to get a leaf out of this guy that is quite a bit larger than the last 2 or 3 leaves. So you can see it had one nice big leaf here, and then it gave me some, or it got some smaller leaves. This was not in my care. And then it put out this guy, which is about 3 times the size of the last leaf here, which makes me think that it's happy on this moss pole. So yeah, while that leaf still is small, it's definitely bigger than the rest of the leaves. This leaf was the last leaf prior to that one. So the moss pole is definitely doing it some favors. And the last plant that I wanted to show you that has really grown an amazingly large leaf compared to the others is my Philodendron squamiferum. So these were the other leaves that it had. They're still a really, really nice size, and they're starting to mature in the leaf shape because these guys do morph a little bit over time. But since having these 3 leaves, it has put out this giant mammoth of a leaf. I don't know if you guys can tell on the camera, but here is a comparison beside my hand. And then here's a comparison beside my hand for the other size of leaves, basically. So this leaf is definitely larger, and the reason that I was able to get this leaf so large is because it was actually in a pot that was a little bit too tight. And so all I did was upgrade the pot and give it sufficient light under my cheap Amazon lights that sit on my table here. And I was given this beautiful leaf. I'm definitely going to add a moss pole to this guy soon, but it's not yet climbing up. It's mostly just a little bush right now, and the internodal spacing is very small. So once that spacing does space out a little bit more, I'll definitely add a moss pole as well to encourage even bigger leaves. All right, guys, well, that is going to be it for me. I really hope you enjoyed these few tips. I'm really sorry if this video was a little bit scattered. My brain is also a little bit scrambled today, so I'm doing my best, but I wanted to get some videos out for you guys anyways. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and let me know what your tips are for growing large leaves on your houseplants. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. I would love to hit 10,000 subscribers before February 1st. If we could do that, that would be so amazing. But yeah, guys, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Peace. Bye, guys.